There's been a lot of cool tech, a lot of innovative things shared today. We're going to dumb things down a little bit. Before we get into our presentation, I want you to imagine you're out on a solar site. The solar site is 6,000 acres. It's going to produce hundreds of megawatts. And you're a craft worker that's expected to work at 110-degree temperatures out in the mud. You're literally wearing, waders up to your hips because the soil conditions and the moisture out there are such that you need that to protect yourself. And what Trent and I and a lot of the folks working on our teams are focused on is how do we support those team members? How do we make their lives out in the field constructing solar to advance our decarbonization of our country more successful? So we'll get into that in a sec, but a little bit of introduction in Mortenson. So we're a US-based company. We're headquartered in Minneapolis. We work all across the country. We're kind of unique in that we're, of the $5 billion, about half of that is in vertical buildings, and about half of that is in renewable energy. That's spread across solar, wind, high voltage, energy storage, EV solutions to electrify our fleet. Really fun. And so we're going to talk a little bit broadly and then get really deep into the solar example that I shared with you. Okay, so we believe the key to industrialization at Mortenson is through innovation. We believe breakthrough innovation can happen from incremental innovation, and we believe that innovation happens by our team members out on our project sites and our offices doing design and engineering work. And so we are super focused on how do we support, how do we inspire, how do we enable, how do we engage our team members so that when they see an opportunity, when they see something that's not working out on a project site, they know who to call and they know there's resources and funds and people behind them to help make their idea a reality. Now, a lot of these ideas fail, right? That's the whole idea behind it. If every idea we have succeeds, we don't have enough ideas. So we're really big on encouraging fail fast. Let's try things quickly. It's okay to fail. A lot of what Trent's going to talk about is on some of the solar sites, we actually have machining capabilities where somebody can say, hey, I think if you could produce this new tool, this new widget, modify this piece of equipment, it might make my job easier. And they can turn to somebody, and that person can actually machine that for them, and they can implement it and test it the next day. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on. In addition to supporting innovation and industrialization broadly at Mortenson, there's really three areas that we're investing in. So generative design, a lot of time being spent with our friends at Hypar over here and others. And across all of our industry verticals, there are different goals that they have around either generative, automated, or computational design. So there's a lot of money that's being invested in that. We're also investing a ton in design for manufacturing and assembly. So if I was standing up here 5 or 6 years ago, we would not be talking about that. I'd say we have no manufacturing facilities and we're not sure where we're going there. We now have about 350,000 square feet of manufacturing facilities spread across 3 different plants, and we're producing a variety of products. And I hope a few years from now I'll be saying it's triple that. So really exciting progress and investment there. And then the last part, which is what we're going to really talk about, I'm going to turn it over to Trent on, is field automation. And so that's this is not about taking away jobs. This is about how do we help our craft team members out in the field do more. How do we take the riskiest, most mundane, least exciting, most strenuous work off of them and pair that with technology and automation in the field so that we can advance the decarbonization for our country. So I'm going to hand it over to Trent.
Thanks, Gene. So we started our industrialization journey at the end of 2021. We saw that the solar industry was really rapidly growing. Sorry about that. We expect to see about a 5-time growth in our industry to drive sustainability throughout the United States. And we were seeing a lack of labor, especially with our project sites that quite often are an hour to 2 hours away from the nearest major city. So we knew we needed to do something different, and we saw that we knew automation, robotics, manufacturing all needed to be leveraged into the construction cycle. So we made a presentation to our board, which was approved. We actually have some R&D money, which isn't a common occurrence in a lot of construction companies, and we started our journey right at the beginning of 2022. So We're only a couple years into it, but it's been a fun journey, and I'll just show you a little bit of our progress and where we've come so far. The first thing we did was we set up some goals, and we really wanted to focus on reducing the amount of labor that we needed on the project by 50%. We wanted to improve our safety by 50% and eliminate rework. And also, we wanted to build our projects twice as fast. So some ambitious goals that we hope to hit over time. It's definitely a mile marker that we're moving forward to. One of the things about, and I think Gene talked about it on the labor side, it's not really about eliminating jobs, but we feel like if we can build our projects twice as fast with the same amount of people, that's really the goal. And I just wanted to show you a little bit about what our projects typically look like. I think earlier today we spoke about stagnation and complacency, and we certainly were seeing that. I've been doing solar since about 2008, and really we haven't changed a lot with the way we build things. We still use the exact same tools, construction tools that existed for quite some time, and really nothing has been created for solar construction specifically. And see if I can get this video to play. Oh. Can you play the video? The previous one? Back one more. Yeah, there. So our projects quite often will have we might have around 200,000 of these torque tubes to install. We might have around 1 million to 2 million solar panels that go on top of those. We'll commonly have 100,000 to 200,000 piles that support those systems. And as Gene mentioned, it's not always the nicest place to be. This site's down in the Houston area, and not only do they have to wear waders quite often, and we did have people throwing modules in waist-deep water at times, but there's also alligators on the site, so we actually wore gator chaps in case they happen to take a bite out of our legs. So needless to say, our folks don't always like to be out on the site, and the more we can get them out of the site, the better. So what did we do? So we started working on what kind of equipment and tools can we create to make the life of our field workers a lot easier. And we really focused on our craft workers, and we really started working to empower them to figure out what is going to make your life better. And we felt like if we can empower them and give them the tools and support them with things, then it's going to make their life a lot easier. And a lot of things we have done aren't like super complicated. But this is a simple machine that we built. We took a gator, we cut it down so it could get below our torque tubes, and we have huck pumps on our sites that we use to attach our torque tubes to the piles. And this is just a simple example. It's a remote control, so the workers can still control it, and they can get it to start and stop. We've done stuff with fully autonomous equipment too, and quite often it's not quite as reliable. The workers don't trust it quite as much. And this, I think, is a nice, simple solution of a machine that makes our workers' life a lot easier without having to go in and out of the rows with some other type of equipment that isn't really made. So this is just a simple example of creating. And this took us a day to build this out in the site where we built the trailer for it. We created a way to get the hoses attached easily, and just making our life a lot easier for our workers. This is a little more of a complicated machine. We spent really a couple years building this machine out with a OEM partner of ours, actually from over in Italy. And this is actually a fully autonomous GPS-enabled pile distribution machine. So as I mentioned, we typically have 100 to 200,000 piles to put across the construction site. And this is a machine that we developed. We just recently put it on under one of our job sites. We're almost done commissioning it. We've had to make different changes to software systems and hardware systems on the machine. Certainly looking to speed it up over time. Right now it cycles at about every 60 seconds, but we'd like to get it down to around 20 seconds per cycle. But it's It's a pretty neat piece of machinery. It's also, there's a software system that goes with it. We have different piles. The 100 to 200,000 piles we have, they're different piles at different locations, so the machine needs to know what goes in each location. It's certainly one of the first, pieces of equipment that I'm aware of for the solar industry that was made just specifically for what we want to do. The next thing we started working on was our torque tube module assemblies, and this is a torque tube module assembly plant. Again, this was developed by our workers, so we challenged our workers to figure out, what makes your life easier as far as putting the panels onto the torque tubes and transporting them. So everything that you see here was really prototyped out on our sites, built by our workers, rapidly prototyping things and then trying things over again and again until we got it the way they wanted it. The first one is the assembly plant in our tent, which gets the workers out of the muck, and then this is a spreader beam that we created to pick and place all of our assemblies out in the field. So just trying to speed things up, make life easier for our workers, and keep them safer as we're doing our work. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Gene.
Thanks, Trent. So the next part of our job, once we start learning and developing these tools, and one of our business units is taking those learnings and applying them elsewhere. And so it's really exciting to have a very specific use case, and you can say we can drive productivity, we can drive labor, we can drive KPIs, outcomes. And then a big part of our job is how do we take that, apply that to the rest of our business, inspire others to do the same. And so that's what we're, in addition to continuing our journey from the solar standpoint, is how do we apply some of this technology across our company. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. That's what we got.